Hey guys, Supervisely team here. The topic of today's video is labeling queues. Let's assume you have a lot of annotators and your task is to label massive amounts of images. Now, how to organize this process without assigning each annotator a set of images manually? This is when labeling queues are useful. You can imagine labeling queues as a pool of tasks from which each labeler is assigned an image that he needs to annotate one by one until there are no unlabeled images left. Let's see how that looks in action. So firstly, we need to have an established team. If you want to know how to create a team, add members to your team, change their roles and what the roles actually do, I will leave a link in the description to the video about labeling jobs where I explain all this stuff. So how do we actually create a labeling queue? I am now in my manager's account, and firstly we need to go to the start button, then let's go to the labeling and scale page. Here at the top of the screen we have 5 tabs, which are jobs, queues, exams, guides and issues. Let's go into the queues. And in the right side we have create a new labeling queue button. So here is the labeling queue creation page. First we can adjust title, description and readme. That is going to be visible by both annotators and reviewers, but I'm not going to do so. Next we need to assign our reviewers, labelers and data to annotate. Let me do that. Next section is very important because in this section we can configure things that are going to be available to our annotator. So for example, let's say that I only want to annotate ripe fruits in this data set. So what I need to do, I need to remove all the other classes. So the annotator is going to be provided with only one class to annotate. Also, we can select the text that are going to be available to our annotators, but I don't have any text in this project. This setting right here is really interesting because it is specific to the case when multiple labelers are working on the same project. So we can configure, if we want to, our labelers to view, edit and remove only their own figures or all the figures that are present on said image. Alright, so let's create the labeling queue. As you can see, labeling queue has been created. And also if we head to the labeling jobs tab, we can see that a labeling job for annotation has been created. Let's switch to the labeler's perspective. Now I am in my labeler's account. To start doing our labeling job, we need to click those 3 dots at the right and start annotation. When working with labeling queues, only advanced labeling toolbox is available, so keep that in mind. Let's annotate this image. So let's say that we have finished annotating this image. What we need to do is we need to click on this button at the top of the screen, which says confirm and pull next. And now we are provided with the next image. This is when labeling jobs and labeling queues are different, because if you are familiar with labeling jobs, you know that when you assign a labeling job to a user, let's say a dataset of 10 images, the annotator is provided with the entire dataset at one time, so he can scroll through all the images and label them as he wants to. But in case with labeling queues, he's only provided with one image at a time. Let's switch over to the reviewer's perspective. Alright, so here's the reviewer's perspective. We can see the image that we have just labeled in our annotator's account, and we can see under each bounding box, we can see the user that has created it. And at the top of the screen, we can either accept or reject this annotation. I'll accept it. Also, when the labeling queue is completed, we can click View Jobs button and see all of the labeling jobs that has been generated by our queue. In the status section of a job, we can see the status of a job, amount of images complete, and the time that it took to complete. Also, we can view some information about the labeling job, detailed statistics, like the job activity, statistics per class or tag, and statistics per image. And we have some export options like export items after review or export activity as a CSV file. That is it for this quick video. See you in the next one.